Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. My name is David London. I am the Director of Innovation at the Greater Baltimore Cultural Alliance.
And I'm Alix Van Hagen. I'm the manager of the Baker Artist Portfolios here at Greater Baltimore Cultural Alliance.
Thanks for being here, everyone.
So in our info session today, we have an agenda. So we're going to go over a general overview of Greater Baltimore Cultural Alliance, of the Baker Artist Portfolios, of the awards associated with the Baker Artist Portfolios, the Baker Artist Awards. We'll talk about eligibility, disciplines of medium, the adjudication process, and then we'll show you the front end of the website, what you'll see when you log in, and also the back end of the website, and go into how you can start to create your portfolio, upload work, and some special features, and we'll leave a lot of time for questions. Since this session today is in StreamYard, we have a chat feature, and you can enter questions into that chat feature at any time. So please feel free to ask questions and we'll address them as they come up. And also at the end, let us know what you're wondering about.
Thanks, Lex. I'll also add, if you happen to be joining us today on Facebook Live or on YouTube, you can also type your questions directly into the chat box on those two platforms, and we will be able to see those and bring them up on the screen as well.
Great.
So a little bit of history about the Greater Baltimore Cultural Alliance. Our mission is to create equity and opportunity in, through, and for the arts in Greater Baltimore. We do this through marketing, education, professional development, financial support, and innovative programs, of which the Baker Artist Portfolios and Associated Awards check several of the boxes. GBCA was founded in 2001, so it's our 22nd, soon to be 23rd anniversary, when a group of artists and administrators came together and said, we can be stronger together than apart. So we are an independent organization. We're not government affiliated in any way, and we're able to provide our services through a variety of donations from individuals as well as philanthropists, etc. We are also a membership organization. So that means that part of our funding every year comes from our membership. Our membership is open to individual artists as well as a variety of organizations in arts, culture, history, heritage, humanities, also colleges and universities, sites, and attractions. As a membership organization, some of the services we provide are only to our members, though many, if not most, of the services we provide are open to anyone within the region, and the Baker Portfolios is one example of that. You do not have to be a member of GBCA to have a Baker Artist Portfolio or be eligible for an award, although we'd love for you to consider becoming a member of GBCA and becoming part of our family in that way. The Baker Artist Portfolios were created in 2008, and it was a collaboration between the Greater Baltimore Cultural Alliance and the William G. Baker Jr. Memorial Fund. So from the very beginning, the program was conceived as a collaboration. To get into some of the minutiae here, the Baker Fund is housed out of the Baltimore Community Foundation, and as such is in their bylaws that they're only able to give money to organizations. And so that was one of the reasons why this collaboration and partnership was formed, is that the Baker Fund is able to support GBCA, and GBCA is then able to award the financial aspect of the Baker Artist Awards directly to individuals. From the very early days of the Baker program, the portfolios were conceived to provide a free online home for artists, financial support through the Baker Artists Awards, as well as showcase and exhibition opportunities, and to promote Baltimore internationally as a strong creative community. In 2016, a brand new website was launched, and that was actually when we rebranded to the Baker Artist Portfolios. For any artist who's been with us for longer than that time, you will know that in the early days of the program was called the Baker Artist Awards. The website was bakerartistawards.com, and all of the language on the website was connected to the awards themselves. So artists would self-nominate themselves for an award. But when we changed over the website in 2016, we also rebranded the name of the program at large to the Baker Artist Portfolios. And we did this to allow us to talk about the intrinsic value of the portfolios themselves. The awards are still an integral part of the overall program, but we're now able to talk about the value of the portfolios as well as the value of the awards itself. For example, we know from both anecdotal stories as well as analytics that the website is viewed in nearly every country around the world. It's used by curators, collectors, collaborators, programmers, educators, and students. I'll give you a few brief examples. We know that there's a MICA class where their very first day in class, they are instructed to spend the next week and visit the Baker Artist Portfolio website to get a sense of what's going on here in the region. There are many programmers at some of the cities and regions programming institutions who regularly rely on the Baker Artist Portfolios to find new artists to incorporate into their programming. We hear from artists that collectors from other cities, New York is the example I'm about to give, who was visiting the Baker Portfolio site, saw their work, came down to Baltimore, went home with 10 paintings, just an example. I've personally used the site to find artists who intrigued me, whose work I then commissioned to be incorporated into larger products. And so we regularly hear these stories about how people out in the community are utilizing the Baker site to further their own careers. There are many artists who use the Baker site as their main website. Either they publish their URL directly on their business card, or for those who are a little bit more technically savvy, you can actually have a forwarding address. So for example, you could go to davidlondon.com. Don't do that right now. That's not actually my website, but as an example, go to davidlondon.com and that could be automatically forwarded to your My Baker Portfolio. The reason for that is a lot of artists find that it's actually easier to update their Baker Portfolio than it is to maintain their own website. Another switch that took place in 2016 that has carried along to this point is that portfolios can be updated 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Prior to that switchover, the website would be shut down for a 4-month period while jurors were reviewing the portfolios. That no longer takes place. So now you can update your portfolio whenever works for you. And I always tell people that the most exciting part of the program itself is that it's always evolving. It's we're always addressing the best ways to improve the technology and improve the program itself to better support artists as they continue to grow in their career. Do you want to take this one, Alex?
Sure. So the Baker Artist Awards are the awards associated with the Baker Artist Portfolios, and they are awards of excellence rather than grants. So there's nothing that's required if someone wins an award. You don't have any reporting to do. There are no strings attached to the financial prize. You can use it for whatever you'd like. You can use it for more art to increase your ability to make your art or buy equipment. But you could also use it for a vacation or to pay for a roof repair, whatever works. It's really an award of excellence. So we give $90,000 in annual awards. And there's been a variety of award structures that have been explored in the past. So previous awards have ranged from $1,000 to $50,000. During pandemic, there were more awards given around the $2,500 level. And for the past couple of years, we've arrived at a standard structure. And the award structure is that there is one $10,000 Mary Sawyer's Baker Prize that is given per discipline. We have 6 artistic disciplines. And one of those 6 awardees will receive an additional $30,000 Mary Sawyer's and Bowdoin Prize, which will amount to a total of $40,000. And some of the thought behind this is to really give an award that could be a transformative amount of money for an artist, rather than more awards at a smaller level, to really award the excellence at a transformative level. It is the largest art prize in the region. And in addition to the financial award, there are other awards that go along with, or other benefits, I guess, that go along with being awardees. There is a special that awardees are featured on Maryland Public Television, as well as a follow-up the following year. There's an exhibition at the Baltimore Museum of Art for visual and interdisciplinary artists, and other showcase opportunities at major institutions around the city for artists in other disciplines. So to be eligible for a Baker Artist Award, one, you have to have a portfolio. There's no application. That's it. You have to have a portfolio as of the deadline. You have to be a legal resident of Baltimore City or the 5 surrounding counties, which are Baltimore, Howard County, Hartford County, Carroll County, Anne Arundel County. You have to be at least 21 years old before 1 year before the opening of the current season. So That is actually right now, October 1st. Oop, I clicked something. There we go. October 1st, 2022. So as of then, you will have to have been 21 years old. It is open to all individual artists and artists working as a collective or a collaboration, but it is not open to organizations, incorporated organizations of any kind. So that means if you are an individual artist who also happens to have a business, you can create a portfolio and be eligible as an individual artist, but you couldn't do it as your business. Artists working in any and all disciplines are eligible. And previous awardees who've received less than $20,000 total from the Baker Awards are also still eligible, with the caveat that if someone wins an award, there is a 1-year period in which they are not eligible until they're eligible again. If an artist has won more than $20,000 total in past years, they are no longer eligible to receive an award. And staff, board, and family members of Greater Baltimore Cultural Alliance, the William G. Baker Jr. Memorial Foundation, or the Baltimore Community Foundation are welcome to create portfolios. And many of us have portfolios, but we're ineligible to win an award.
Thanks. We have 6 artistic disciplines that are designated on the site. That is visual arts, performance, music, literary arts, film and video, and interdisciplinary art. I will say in the 10 years I've been working on this program, we've seen a radical increase in artists working in the interdisciplinary discipline. I think that's just the nature of art today, is that more and more artists are becoming interdisciplinary. You are welcome to include all of the work that you make. However, you do have to choose a primary discipline. For the purposes of our program, the way we are defining interdisciplinary artists is an artist who's creating singular works that cross disciplines, which might be different than an artist who creates individual works all in distinct disciplines. So to give you an example, if you are a tap dancer who plays the trumpet while reciting poetry, but never those things should meet, we would ask you to choose either your discipline is either music, performance art, or literary arts. However, if you tap dance while playing the trumpet and reciting poetry, for the purposes of our program, we could consider you an interdisciplinary artist. We do allow you to completely self-select which discipline you see best represents you. However, careful selection of those disciplines is important to make sure that the right jurors and experts in their fields are reviewing your portfolios. Again, even if you choose that music is your primary discipline, but you are also a poet, you're welcome to include works of other discipline within your portfolio, within the portfolio itself. However, that primary discipline is, again, important to make sure the right juror is reviewing your work. The deadline for award consideration this year is Friday, January 26, 2024 at 5:00 p.m. And at that time, what happens is a duplicate copy of your portfolio is made, and that is what the jurors will review. The reason this is important is that, as I mentioned earlier, you are able to update your portfolio 365 days a year. And so even on Saturday, January 27th, 2024, you can update your public-facing portfolio, and those changes will be seen by the public, but the jurors will only be reviewing where you were at exactly 5:00 p.m. at the deadline date. The Baker Artist Awards recognize artists who demonstrate excellence in 3 areas. These are the adjudication criteria that the jurors review, and the only adjudication criteria that they review. That is, I will say them twice and then define them: mastery of craft, depth of artistic exploration, and unique vision. Mastery of craft, depth of artistic exploration, and unique vision. So in terms of mastery of craft, that is whatever tools you are using to explore your ideas. Are you growing and mastering those tools and techniques? Depth of artistic exploration used to be called depth of artistic portfolio, and then we realized it wasn't really about the portfolio itself. It was about showing the depth of your actual exploration as an artist. So whatever ideas you are exploring, is there a clear trajectory that you are on and that you are always evolving within the art itself? And last is unique vision. Whatever you're bringing into the world, is it unique and singular to you? Now, like all adjudication criteria for all grants and awards, we recognize that some of these criteria may be more or less subjective than others, but these are the three areas that jurors are looking at when they review the portfolios to select finalists and awardees. The adjudication process itself is conducted by a private jury of local, regional, and national experts. We will announce 36 finalists, that is 6 per each artistic discipline, in March 2024. Then those 36 artists will go through a second tier of adjudication, and awardees will be notified in May 2024. This is very important. Our help desk, we are available from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. We will not be available December 23rd through January 2nd. We will also not be available during the Thanksgiving break that is coming up. That said, we often do check email even though we are not working. So it is possible that you will get a response from us. Even if you have one of our personal email addresses, we ask that you email us at baker@baltimoreculture.org with your questions. That email will go to both of us simultaneously, and you're much more likely to get a quicker response that way. Before I proceed, I'm going to offer the opportunity for anyone who has any questions at this point on sort of the overall logistics of the program. You could type that into the chat box, either on our website or on Facebook or YouTube. I'll wait a second to see if any of those come up, and then we will jump right into the website itself. Okay, 10 more seconds to get your questions in. Otherwise, we're going to jump over to the website. Okay, feel free to continue to type questions in if they arise during the presentation, and we'll also leave some time at the very end. You are looking at the homepage of the Baker Artist Portfolio website. If you're not familiar with GBCA that we were talking about earlier, you can click in the upper left-hand corner. It will take you to our organizational website. And on the homepage itself, if you are not logged in, there will be a button here that says log in, and these what is called a hamburger menu, which will pull up our menu choices over the screen. We'll get to that in just a second. Here I am logged in as an artist. The name of this artist that I'm logged in is Test User. It's a portfolio that we use just for these info sessions, which is why you see the name Test. Normally, if you are logged in, you would see your first name presented over here. Also on the homepage, there is a search bar where you can have a drop-down menu to select artistic disciplines whose portfolios you want to view. The drop-down does not show up when I share my screen for some reason, but I promise you that it is there. You can also type by artist name here. You can also type by tags, and we'll talk about what tags are, but clues that artists have left behind for you to be able to hone in on their work. The search bar here, the magnifying glass, allows you to search the site, or I think more common than not, people click on the blue browse or the orange browse button, and that browse button will just bring them into the portfolios themselves. Underneath that, there are 15 squares highlighting different artists on the site. The homepage is built to be completely democratic, and so every time you refresh your page, a different group of artists will show up, which means that you as an artist with a portfolio will also have your work show up on the homepage at some point. This is a way of just directing people to the plethora of art on the site. One of the really nice things about the Baker Portfolio website is that it is completely democratic. So anyone who wants to create a portfolio, as long as they meet the basic requirements, is able to do so. The one exception to the complete random rotation of artists on this website is the upper left-hand corner, this artist here, which showcase a past awardee. Those artists themselves are on a rotation, but you'll notice that that block is two squares wide, and that gives them a little bit higher visibility here. And if you scroll down to the bottom is our menu items. So here you can browse different portfolios. You can log in here if you're not logged in, or log out here. You can get information about the awards. This button here takes you to our past awardee page, which I'll click on in just a second. I do recommend artists, if possible, to spend a few minutes looking at our past awardees. It's a good way to get a sense of how other artists have created their portfolios, especially artists who have been recognized for the work that they create. You can see the different approaches that artists have taken, the depth that they go into, and how they present themselves. Also, at some of the info sessions throughout the year, we'll be presenting tips and tricks from past awardees, how they present themselves as an artist. We'll be sharing those out digitally when available as well. So now that you've signed up for one info session, you'll also get updates as new information becomes available. In the About Us section is some history of the program. our blog, our event listings where we list upcoming exhibitions, other showcases, etc., and contact us. That's where you can get a hold of us. This help tab, which I'm going to click on right now, is a drop down button with frequently asked questions in here. So if you just are looking for deadline dates or you have questions about other basic features of the site, you can get this here. We also have a full instruction manual. It's rather in depth. It's 24 pages long. We go into extreme detail on how to do everything on the site, and most of the things we'll be talking about here today. If you've registered for this info session in advance, we will be emailing you that manual at the end of this session. If you are tuning in to the recording and you want to download it on your own, you can go to bakerartist.org/manual and download that. If you are joining us live, make it through the end of the info session before you start poking around in that manual. It can seem a little overwhelming, but after the info session, you'll understand that we've just gone into great detail, as we plan on doing here today as well. I'm going to go back down to the menu at the footer, and then I'm going to actually click on this menu in the upper right-hand corner. You'll see that this menu in the upper right-hand corner is an exact duplicate, although laid out slightly differently to the menu that's in the footer, so you can get to those menu items in either way. I did mention the awardees page, so I'm going to click on that just so you can see how this looks. Each year, it features the artists who are the awardees. It lists what discipline they are, links to their winning portfolio, as well as their current artist profile. And you can filter through the years by clicking on this drop-down menu here. Again, the drop-downs don't show up when I share screen, but I promise you, when you hover over this drop-down here and click, you will see the various years of past awardees, and you can explore some of the amazing artists who have been selected as awardees in the past. I'm going to go back to the home page here. I'm going to click this browse button, and this browse button will take you into the second main page of the website. And this is what we call our search results page. At the very top, you can see that there are currently 590 artists who have active portfolios. Over the 15 years of the program, we've had about 3,500 artists create portfolios, and every year we have about 700 to 1,000 who are active in each year. I will let you know if you've had a portfolio in the past, you do not need to recreate that each year. It's one of the nice benefits of the Baker Artist portfolios is that your work is carried over from year to year. You do have to log in at some point during the season, which for us is September 1st to the deadline date, in order to keep your portfolio active. And so that's a sort of an opt-in method that we have. So you do have to log in every year, at least once during the season, to say that you are interested in having a portfolio. Here you'll notice that the portfolios are displayed in a grid. There's 16 to a page. These artists are used to be sorted alphabetically by last name, but we started to realize this was a little bit unfair to our artists who landed in the middle or end of the alphabet. So we changed the default display to showcase artists who have most recently updated their portfolio. So if you as an artist were to log in right now and make a change to your portfolio, you would be the first artist here in this square. During the season, these change day to day when we have hundreds of artists logging in day to day. Off season, it's good to update your portfolio regularly to make sure that you land here on this page. If you do prefer to sort artists by last name, you can do so by clicking the sort button and either change how it's displayed either by most recently updated last name A to Z or last name Z to A. So we do give you that option. We've just changed the way it's sorted. We also have a filter portfolios button here where you can sort presently by geographical region. A feature that we are implementing currently is to expand this drop-down list to not just be by geographic area, but also to include some partner organizations. And so you can select multiple categories. You can choose that you're a resident of Baltimore City, that you live in Station North, and then select that you're affiliated with some of our partners as well. We'll be sending out more information on that as those partnerships continue to be developed throughout the season. I'm just going to click on one artist here. I'm not picking anyone particular. I'm just going to pick the first one since Sarah is our first artist in this section, and we'll look at her portfolio page itself. So at the very top of her portfolio are work samples. Each artist has up to 4 spots to display their work samples. You can include work of all media here. So this is a embedded Vimeo video. There's another embedded video. So this artist has 3 embedded videos over here. To the right is the artist's name, a profile picture, that's a picture of them, a short bio. This artist happens to be a past awardee, so there's a little emblem for that, and you can view their resume. We'll talk about it in a moment, but resumes are optional to include on the site. The jurors do not review them, but we're just keeping in mind that many more members of the general public will view your portfolio than jurors. And so if you have a resume or CV, you can include it there. Underneath the work samples are the titles of the work samples and project descriptions, and we'll talk about those. Then underneath that is a jump to a project button where you can see all the name of the projects. Every artist on the Baker site can have up to 10 projects, and there can be up to 10 pieces of media per project. We'll expand on that a little bit more, but I'm just going to show you how this looks visually first. This is the title of the projects. The clouds move on, but I'm still here. You can include a lot of text. We don't limit the amount of text you can include. Underneath that, you can have up to 10 thumbnails and pieces of media per project, which you can navigate through by clicking on the thumbnails. If you're on a mobile device or tablet, you can also swipe left or right to scroll through the artwork. And underneath each piece of media, there's also a media title and a media description. So there's lots of places on the website for you to talk about your work. You can have up to 100 pieces of media displayed based on your preference and how you want to present yourself as an artist. I'm going to scroll down all the way past the last project here, and we will take a look that at the very bottom. If you are logged in as an artist, you can leave a comment on other artists' work, and we encourage you to do so. Then underneath that, there's this section that says Connect with Sarah, which will link to your own personal website. Here, Sarah has her Instagram page as well. You can add social media links to whatever website you prefer. And next to that is a curated collection. This artist is not using the curated collection, but another feature that you have access to as an artist is the ability to go around the Baker site and favorite other artists' artwork. And it sort of creates a more organic Amazon feature. If you like this, you might like this. But if you like one artist's work, you might be interested in seeing some other artists' work who that artist enjoys. And so we'll talk more about the that feature as we go into the back end a little bit more. So the home page, the search results page, and the individual portfolio pages are the three types of pages for the most part that you will encounter on the Baker site. This makes up the majority of the website itself. From the public facing perspective. As an artist, you have several places where you can upload your work, and that's what we're going to spend the rest of our time with here today. How to actually use the site itself, how to add work, how to add your bio, how to add those social media links we talked about, and add all the different types of content that we collect on the site itself. Before I go into those backend, I just want to click on the name here. Again, this would be your first name. Here, our artist is called Test User, which is why it's showing Test. If I was working on my own portfolio, I would say David here. And when you click on that, you get a drop-down menu with several options. So I want to talk about what those options are. The first is My Portfolio, and that will take you to your live portfolio. So if you want to view your portfolio, you click My Portfolio. If you want to edit your portfolio, you click the Edit Portfolio button, which is different from the two buttons underneath it, which is Edit Account Information and Edit Artist Profile. So I want to talk about what's in those two sections as well. Edit Portfolio is everything related to your artwork itself. So it's where your projects lives, it's where your media lives, it's where your work samples live. Edit Account Information is information about your account itself. And so that would be your email address. I'm just going to click on that now so we can take a look at what's going on there. If you need to change your password, if you want to change your profile picture, basic information about you, your first name and your last name, your birth date, which we use to confirm your eligibility, as well as your social media links. There's three options on here: terms of service, privacy policy, and show my email. By the way, you would have already filled out this form by the time you start. So the only time you really need to go here is if you need to update your information, change your email address, change your password. But you've already clicked on most of these and filled out most of this form when you created your account. Terms of service will already be checked. Privacy policy will already be checked when you created your account. And the last button here says show my email. We never, as a policy, share your personal information. So we will never publish your email address or share it with anyone. But a lot of artists said to us, you know, it would be nice if I could just automatically share my email address on my portfolio. And so we built in this feature. If you click the show my email, then it will display your email that you've used to register your account with. On the bottom of this page is the save button. That save button stays there even as I scroll. You'll notice that save button is your friend. You always want to make sure you hit the save button before you leave a page. I haven't changed anything here, so it's not letting me save because nothing has changed. I'm going to click on edit artist profile now. The artist profile collects a little bit more information about you. It collects your zip code and your city. We talked about the location dropdown on the search results page. This is where you can select that you're a resident or artist working in Station North or Carroll County or wherever you may live, and also where you will see that growing list of affiliations start to appear. You can also set your site-wide representation here. And if you'll remember on that search results page or on the home page where different artists were featured, that is their site-wide representation. This is different than the profile picture that sits above your bio. This is the image that will represent you across the Baker site. By default, the website will display the first image in your first project across the site as your representational image. And if you're fine with that, you don't need to add anything different here. But if you want to select differently the first image that appears for you across the site, then here's where you can upload your site-wide representation. Underneath that is your artist bio. That will appear below your picture on your portfolio. Your resume here, again, if you want to upload your resume, this is where you can do it. I generally give a warning to artists, not a warning, just something to be aware of, that your resume is visible to the public. So if you're uploading your standard CV or your resume, just check it before you upload it to make sure if you don't want it to have your home address or your personal cell phone number listed, that you take it off before you upload it. There's no inherent harm in having that published, but just be aware that everything you upload onto the web is out there floating around somewhere. If you do want to list your personal website, you can do that under here where it says website. And the last option on this page says keep my artwork private so that others cannot view it. This is an option that we've only built in the last several years. And the reason for doing so is that some artists don't like people to be able to view their portfolio until they are done. So during the season when they're updating or just starting their portfolio, they don't want it to be visible to the public, which is totally fair. There are also some artists who are not interested in being part of a public-facing portfolio site. They are only in it for the awards itself. Of course, we'd love for you to be part of the portfolios, but if that doesn't suit your work or your life, then you don't have to have a public-facing portfolio. Selecting this button will keep the public from searching or seeing it, but it will not affect the jurors' ability to see it. So even if your artwork is kept private from the public, the jurors are still able to see your portfolio. So keep that in mind. If you have any questions on that, we're happy to answer that. Again, the save button stays on the bottom so that you can save your work before you're done with that. I'll take a quick breath and an opportunity for Leeks to chime in. If I missed anything, for anyone to ask any questions, should you have them, feel free to type them into the chat. And then if nobody has any questions, we will jump right into the edit portfolio, which is where we'll spend the rest of our time here today. So Leeks, did I miss anything there?
Not that I noticed.
Okay, great. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to type them in. All right, no questions at this time, which is totally fine. I'm going to jump to the edit portfolio button, which again is where you will spend the most of your time on your portfolio itself. At the very top, it says title. And by default, it will say your first name, comma S. So if I was creating my portfolio for the first time, it would say David's portfolio, or sorry, David London's portfolio. So it'll say first name, last name, apostrophe S, portfolio, David London's portfolio. Because we know that there are many artists out there who have a stage name or a public-facing name that isn't their legal name, that the name on your account might be different than the name that you want the public to see you as, or that the public knows you have. Or there's some, if you're working as a collective, as Leeks mentioned, that you might want to list the name of the collective here. So you have the ability to change the title of your portfolio to be whatever you want it to be. And you can adjust that here in the title box. Again, by default, it will display first name, last name, apostrophe S as portfolio. Underneath that is a preferred URL. This is a new feature that we've rolled out this year. And the preferred URL is if you're looking at your the URL of your portfolio and says bakerartist.org/portfolios/something. In the past, that something has been preset by the name associated with your portfolio. We've given you the option to customize that now. And so if you wanted it to be /D London or /David London or /David L or something totally wild or different, you are now able to do so here in this preferred URL box. Again, it will, it's an optional feature, but if you have questions on that, happy to answer that as well. Underneath that is the work sample section, and the edit portfolio flows in the exact same way that the live portfolio flows. So just like when you're looking at your live portfolio, your work samples are at the very top. In the same way, when you are here on the edit portfolio page, your work samples are also at the very top. There's also this extensive help text here, and so it mirrors a lot of what's in the informational packet that we have shared and will email out to you. Again, if you need to download that manual, you can do so at bakerartist.org/manual. But we've also included that on the website itself. So we try to guide you along in the process as you're going here. In this particular case, I already have 4 pieces of media uploaded. So I'm going to remove a piece of media so that I can add a new one and show you how to do that. If you're just starting for the first time, there will be 4 blank spaces here. And this little piece of text here that says you can select up to 4 media items, 1 left, will tell you how many left you have to upload. We can accommodate up to 4 pieces of media in your work sample spots, but that doesn't mean you have to use all of them. So you can use your discretion as to how many best suits you. If you have media, if you have an image, you can have up to 4 images. If you have audio or PDF text or video, you can have up to 10 minutes of durational media. So that would be up to 10 minutes of music or video, or up to 15 pages of text. This is the only place on the site where we limit the length of content. So in the body of your portfolio itself, you can have as much content as you feel is suited. So you can have as much film content, as much literary content and text space, or as many graphics, as long as you're working within that 100 pieces of media total. But here in the work samples, we are limited to the amount of content that you can have. Although the work samples is important when you think about the general public looking at your portfolio, it's important for them. It's important to think about how people will perceive your work samples. But most importantly, the work samples are here to assist in the adjudication process. So it's mostly here for the jurors themselves. So it's always important to keep in mind the general public. Again, more folks from the public will see your portfolio than the jurors themselves. The jurors use the work samples to help them not select artists, but to help them rather eliminate artists. And what I mean by that is that you won't be selected as a finalist or an awardee without your entire portfolio being reviewed. The jurors will use the work samples, and they will review the entirety of your work samples, and they will use them to determine if they want to spend more time with you. So your work samples are there to entice the jurors to review your entire portfolio. And again, thinking about the public, you can think about it the same way. Your work samples are there to entice the public to review your entire portfolio. But you are, unlike many grant applications, not selected based on your work samples alone. So again, the work samples are there to entice people to go deeper into your portfolio itself, and as a tool for the jurors to eliminate artists who they are not interested in considering further. I'm going to add a piece of media here by clicking the Select Media button. Depending on on all computers, it will open up this Select Media browser. And depending on your operating system, that when you click on Choose File underneath the Image tab, it will open the media browser on your computer. You can't see my computer right now, but I assure you that the media browser is open as I look for the image that I want to upload here, which is going to be this image here that I've selected. You'll see the name appear here. And I'm going to select here info session. So you'll see the thumbnail came up under the image. I've typed in the name. And underneath that is a description. I'm going to say this is a info session graphic. And I hit save image over here. Oops, I forgot one section here, which is the alternative text. We have a pending workshop that will be coming probably in January talking about alternative text specifically. But alternative text is a tool used for people who use supportive technology, such as screen readers. And it's a way of describing what's on the screen itself. It's a lot of work to put in good alternative text, although we have required it this year. And the reason for that is because we want to support accessibility features on the website. If you have carried over your portfolio from previous years, the alternative text will be automatically populated with the title of your piece. Although that is a fair placeholder for anyone, that is not technically what alternative text is. Alternative text in this case would be, for example, a black and yellow postcard flyer promoting info sessions for the Baker artist portfolios. That might be a simple explanation. Perhaps it gets more tricky when you are describing your own artwork, but again, it's description of your work itself for people who aren't able to actually see the work. What we are suggesting, if you do not have alternative text already developed for your work, is that you can copy either the description or the title as a placeholder. But we, again, are going to be offering info sessions and advanced tools for you to be able to go back and think deeply about using alternative text for all of your work to support those who have needs specifically supported by such functionality. Once you've entered those fields, I hit save image button. Oops, I still don't have my alternative text in there. After all that talking, I apologize. I'm going to take my description here. And in this particular example, I'm just going to copy it and place it into the alternative text field. Hit save image, and you will see that that image appears in the thumbnail section. You will also notice that as I hover over these blocks that a crosshair appears, and that crosshair is what I can use to rearrange the order that the work samples appear. So if I want this dog image to be first, I just hover over it, drop and drag, and move it to its preferred location. So here's the image I just put in. I'm actually going to move it back to first. We'll have the dog as the second. We'll have this hot air balloon as the third, and this PDF as the fourth. And when I hit save here, you will know you hit save because it takes you back to your main portfolio. So I hit save here. It thinks for a second, takes me back. And what we can see here on my portfolio itself is here's the graphic I just uploaded. Here's the dog in the second position. Here's the hot air balloon. And here is the PDF. I should mention, since this is a PDF that's displaying here, that if a if a PDF upload, if you upload a PDF, it will take the first page of that PDF and display it here on the work sample section. If that piece is uploaded into the body of your portfolio, it will allow you to click on that. It seems to not be clicking on the work samples here, so we will get that addressed, but you should be able to click on your PDF and have it download the full PDF. And we'll talk about that more in the body of the edit portfolio itself. So that's the work sample section. Again, you have the 4 pieces of media to put in here, and those can be media of all different disciplines. This is a new button that has appeared as well. So let's make a note of that and investigate what that's doing here. I see what it is, though. In the body of the portfolio itself, you can have up to 10 projects. Underneath your projects will be a button that says add new project. You'll notice that there is no button here, and that is because, as it says right here, you have added 10 out of 10 allowed projects. So you can only have 10. If you have more than 10, if you want to add a new project, you're going to have to remove one. I'm going to remove this project here. This is 11.8 info session. It's a 2-step process to remove. I'll just review that again. Remove once, and then you have to hit it again. We do that so that you are certain that you want to remove a project. Unlike deleting certain media from your portfolio, which is still saved in a backend, when you remove a project, all of the content that you've put in, so all of the description and title, will be gone forever. So that's why we give you a 2-step process to ensure that you want to remove your portfolio. Here, I'm going to do it. And when I do that, you'll see that it now says you've added 9 out of 10 allowed projects, and I have the ability to add a new project, which is what I'm going to do now. So this is going to be called 11/20/23 info session. Helps if you have your number lock on. 11/20/23 info session. And project description, this is an example of a project description. And after I've typed the title and the project description, I can choose the individual discipline for this project. And this is a good point to return to a good time to return to one of the points I made earlier, that even if your entire portfolio has a discipline of, say, visual arts, you can upload projects that have a different discipline to it. So here I can select that this project is a literary arts project. And then you get to the tag feature, and a tag is where you can self-select different categories. So I'm going to do dog, and you'll see that there's other previously used tags. So I can find the dog tag on here. I'm going to do painting. I got to separate by a comma. Painting comes up, alphabetized with everything. I'm going to do, in this case, abstract painting, comma, and then I'm going to do surreal. I'm making these up as we go, but here surrealism showed up, so I can add that as well. If what you're looking for doesn't show up, it's an opportunity to create your own tag that other people can use as well. Again, these tags are important because they can be searchable in a way that people can find the work itself. Underneath here, it says art media and then select media. Again, just like in the info packet, we've included here in the help text some information that can guide you in your process of uploading work on the site. So here it talks about you can add up to 10 pieces of work. It gives you some size specifications that work well on the Baker site. When you select media, you'll recognize the media browser as the same one that shows up in the work samples. You'll also notice these tabs up top, and so that's what I'm going to spend a few moments to talk about here. We'll start with just an image, and I'm going to choose file again. I'm going to choose an image from my computer here. I'm going to choose this balloon image and name balloon, and I actually have some alternative text here that I'm going to put in here that's loaded for me. This alternative text says that it's a washed drawing of a vintage hot air balloon flying at a distance during a sunset. So I'm going to type that in here. This is a good example of what alternative text can look like. And description is going to be, I'm making this up, 24 by 36 inches, watercolor on paper. We always suggest that you at least put the dimensions in the year if you're a visual artist, and a description of the medium. This is going to be 1812. I'm making all this up. And then I hit save image here, and you will see that the first piece of media appears underneath the project itself. Okay, I'm going to then add another piece of media, and we're going to do this through the other options here. This time I'm going to add a piece of audio. You have two options here. So you can either upload a file or you can use a remote link. If you click remote link, then you can link directly to a SoundCloud player for your specific piece of media or other media players. So if you have that URL that links to previously uploaded audio, you can do that by clicking this is a remote link. But we also do host audio files on the site itself. And so if you click this choose file button, and if you have an audio file, I'm going to choose this MP3 here, and this is going to be Reality Tunnels and description audio file example. And when you're done with that, you click save audio, and that will embed a media player onto the site itself. And so that's now showing up here. I'm going to make it through all of our examples here. Add a document. This is designed to host a PDF file, for example. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to upload a PDF here, and this is going to be our 2024 Baker instructions. And these are instructions, and save that document. And as I mentioned, when you upload a PDF, it will automatically pull the first page of that PDF as a thumbnail in your portfolio. So you can see the first page of our PDF document displaying here. I'm going to add some more media here, clicking from these other tabs. This time I'm going to do video. The Baker site does not host video on our platform. So if you want to embed video, you're going to be embedding from an audio hosting platform such as YouTube or Vimeo. And when you click add remote video here, I'm going to open up a new tab, and I'm just going to go to Vimeo and Baker Artist Awards, so we can find a video that works for us here. If you have your own website, you may know there's this thing called a embed code, which is a whole bunch of HTML code that you have to put in to embed a video onto your website. We don't use that at all. We just need the URL. So just this little bit right here. And I'm going to copy this bit of URL. That's where you go to www. whatever the URL of your video is. And I'm going to put this here. And the name of this is the 2016 Baker Artist Awards and awardee special on MPT. And once I've entered that in here, then I click Save Remote, which is referring to remote video. And you'll see that the site pulls in the thumbnail for that as well. And so that's the video option. And our last option here is the choose existing media option. And this is nice. It's like a special spot in the back end of the website that hosts all of your files forever. So as long as you have a Baker portfolio, all of the files that you've ever uploaded will live here in this choose existing media section. So you can see some of the pieces of media that I've been using here today. And you can also choose what type of content you want to use. So if you want to search for just images, you can select that image option. If you want to search for remote videos that you've uploaded, you can search for that as well. Depending on whether stuff was carried over onto this updated web platform, not all of the thumbnails will appear in this section, but they will appear on the website itself. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to choose this red skeleton video as previously uploaded video and add that in here. Just to give you another example of choose existing media. This time I'm going to choose just an image. Oops, sorry. I'm going to choose to use an image that I've previously uploaded. So here I'm going to choose this image here from the archives and select media. And now you can see all the pieces of media that I've uploaded in the last few minutes here. The image that I uploaded, the audio that I uploaded, the PDF, the video that I embedded, and the two examples from previously uploaded media. And now, again, most importantly, hit the save button. And when I scroll all the way to the bottom, which is my last project here, you will see that here is all the content that I just uploaded. So there's the red skeleton video, there's the Baker video, the PDF, the audio file. The player is not displaying Alex, and the hot air balloon picture. Now, let's say I don't want this as my last project. So I click on the edit portfolio button, and this 11/20/23, I want to move it up to be my first project. So these crosshairs over here to the left, when you hover over, they turn red, and all you have to do is click and drag to its new location. At this point, I'm trying to get it all the way to the top as the very first project. Click and drag all the way to the top. So now when I hit save, again, now this project will be the very first project in my portfolio. So here's the piece of media that we are talking about here. Now I want to rearrange. Let's say I want this hot air balloon picture to be the first picture in this project. So I go back to edit portfolio. I find the project 11/20/23 info session, click on edit, and you'll notice that the same functionality that exists in the work samples exists over here, that when I hover over, I can drag these to a new location. In certain cases, you might have to move them up one at a time to get them to where you want them to be. And we did also just notice as we were talking here, where did it go? So now we're in the first location. And if I hit save now, then the first image in this project is now the hot air balloon picture. So I did give you some examples as I was typing. You'll remember when I uploaded this picture, I typed balloon as the title and underneath it as a media description. I gave these fake dimensions and a fake year. Those appear underneath the piece of media, 24 inches by 36 inches, and the year underneath it. Some artists type in a whole bunch of text here, so we don't limit the length of text. So if you want to write paragraphs about this piece, where you were in your life, what it means to you, you are welcome to do so. We've done our best to create a platform that can be completely malleable to present you in the best way that you see fit. You also notice under here that this is this add to your collection button, and we haven't really talked about that so much other than a brief mention of it. So I did want to talk about that. I'm going to add this hot air balloon to my collection and refresh the page over here and get rid of this guy. And now when I scroll down to the very bottom of my portfolio, you will see it's doing some weird things here, but you'll see that that image appears here in my collection here. And when I click on it, it will take you to my portfolio. Now you might say, why would I want to link to my own portfolio? Most artists do not favorite works of their own. They favor works of other artists. And so again, it's a good example of how that functionality will allow you to connect to other artists on the site. So here's Pablo's portfolio. When I click on this, it will take me to that specific work in Pablo's portfolio. So it links me to that specific project. So it's a way of creating that interconnectivity between the portfolios. A new feature that we also just added here is if you click on this My Curated Collection button, you can see your curated collections. You can see all the works in your portfolio, but there's also this other sub button here that says Manage My Collection. And when I click on that, you now have the ability to remove from your collection. So if I want to take out that piece of work that I just liked, that hot air balloon, I can remove it from my collection and remove this guy from my collection. And now when I go to look at my portfolio, all the way at the bottom, those pieces are no longer included in my curated collection because I've removed them. So we've added some sort of advanced functionality to be able to remove and control what works are being displayed in your portfolio itself. So I know we've been talking rather fast here. I want to take another quick break and a breath. If anybody has any questions they want to type in here, either on the chat on our website or on YouTube or Facebook, now would be a good time for you to do so. I'm going to review my notes and make sure I haven't left anything out that we wanted to talk about here. And Alex, if there's anything that I missed that you wanted me to touch upon, now would also be a good time to state that.
Well, I don't know where you're going. I don't know where you're going next, but I think it would be good for you to speak a little bit about how you view projects.
Sure. Great. Thanks. And then I also noticed that you'll see these dogs in the background of the image, and I haven't taled about the background image either. So let me zoom out a little bit here so we can see those puppies a little bit better. With the image back here of the dogs is what's called a background image, which is the last thing you can update on your portfolio. So we're going to talk about that. I just want to show you what it looks like on the portfolio itself. And here you can see they're pretty cut off from this view. I did zoom out rather significantly to be able to show you that. This would be the standard view of the portfolios. So to Alex's point, I'm going to go back into edit portfolio and talk about the projects. I've mentioned several times that you can have up to 10 projects and up to 10 pieces of media per project. What is important to note is what we mean by projects. Some artists view this quite literally as a terminology, meaning that these are specific projects that they are organizing their work by with specific start dates and end dates. For example, if you're a theater artist, your project might be one production that you were involved in. If you were a painter, it might be a series of works that you made, and therefore that's where the projects are coming from. But I would encourage you as artists to think creatively about these project buckets and think of them more broadly just as that, as bucket areas with which to organize your work. And by that, I mean that we encourage you to set these projects as buckets, not distinctly tied to specific projects. If the best way to organize your work is to think about them as specific projects with start dates and end dates with specific themes, you are certainly welcome to do so. But you could also think about your projects as just different groupings that relate to your work. So if you are a painter, your project could be watercolors, and another project could be oil paint, and another project could be acrylic, or it could be portraits and flowers and landscapes and plein air painting, or it could be black and white and color, or it could be male figures and female figures, or it could be abstract and figurative. However you think is best suited to organize your own work is how we encourage you to think about your use of the project bucket area. So don't be locked into this definition of project in a standard sense. Really think about what is the best way to organize and present your work as an individual artist. I've talked about the background image, and here I'm going to remove what is here so you can see, if you don't have a background image set, what that would look like for you. And here is the very last thing on your portfolio. It says background image media, and it allows you to select media. And in the same way, you have the same options that you want, although really your only option here should be an image, because we can't support video or audio background. Or you can choose from existing media. And so I'm going to click on existing media, and I'm going to select this historic wallpaper here, and click apply and click select media. And you'll see that the image shows up here, and I'm going to hit save, and you'll see that the background image of my portfolio has changed from the dog that we were looking at a moment ago. I'm going to zoom out so you can see, to this floral image that we're seeing now. Now, several artists have tried to get really creative in their use of the background image. And my general advice, as you can see as I'm zooming in or out on my browser, is that the background image does not move. It is static, locked in place in the size that it is, while the rest of the portfolio scrolls. I point this out because although some artists have tried to relay specific information, I had one artist one year who worked really hard to have a portrait of themselves with their eyes sticking out above the work samples, but on different browsers set to different definition of screen and zoomed into different levels, it didn't quite work as they intended it to. So I generally suggest, if you're going to use that background image feature, to think about it as a way of delivering a specific mood or feeling about your portfolio, but not necessarily trying to relay specific information, because you just don't know how it's going to display on every device and on every specific browser. If you do not have a background image, or you are not interested in using one, you'll get a beautiful blue background as your portfolio, and many artists use that, and that's totally fine. I had one artist one year, I'm just going to pull him up here, Vincent Thomas, who's a past awardee as well, who really felt like his portfolio was completely transformed by just changing that standard blue background to this bright orange background, which will load here in 1 second. And so he just used another color on his portfolio, which he felt like made everything pop much nicer. So it could just be a color or a pattern. It doesn't have to be your specific work, but just whatever you think your work would butt up against as a background is a feature that you might want to use to just customize your portfolio any further. In general, I hope what you're seeing is that we've built in a lot of places for you to fully customize your portfolio, to really be your sort of corner of the web. We do have very basic specifications of how you use the site, but in general, we've tried to give you as much leeway in terms of the amount of work, how you present your work, how you label your work, how you group your work, how you talk about your work, and the types of media that can be shown here, to really allow this to be your own place on the web and to be your own public-facing portfolio. That said, it is always fair to acknowledge that many artists are exclusively or primarily interested in the awards themselves. And so I do hear from many artists at the end of each season how much they really enjoy the process every year of rethinking how they present themselves to the world. And so even though it may be a lot of work or seem like a lot of work, I do find that most artists at the end of the process have found the process to be somewhat enjoyable as they encounter a new platform and are forced to think about how they want to present themselves and collect their work and present it to the public for that specific year. That is all the basic features of the site itself. I'll just remind you one more time that if you have RSVP'd to today, you will be receiving a follow-up email shortly after the session with a manual included. If you need to download the manual, you can download it at bakerartist.org/manual. We'll also keep you posted as we record and upload more of these sessions, as well as additional information that may come out as we start talking and interviewing past awardees to talk about strategy. And I also wanted to remind you that if you have questions at any time, the best way to get a hold of us is through this email, baker@baltimoreculture.org. I'll leave it open for any questions or links. If there's anything I missed or that you want me to expound upon or anything you want to add, please feel free to do so now. And if not, if you have any questions, please type them into the chat. And if nobody has any questions, then we will wrap up this session here. So I'll leave it open for one more minute in case any questions want to come in. Otherwise, we thank everyone who joined us, and we look forward to seeing you on the Baker site. And please feel free to reach out should any questions emerge. So thank you all so much. I don't see any questions, so we'll leave you here, and we hope you have a great rest of the day.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.